Hi, this is Venus Jones, and it is World Mental Health Day, October 10th. I did not want this day to go by too far along, and or this whole week actually, which is dedicated to those who are dealing with mental illness and or mental challenges, without me contributing with a poem. Um, what you may not know, I'm a high achiever, who has graced the cover of a magazine, got an award-winning film, and even been a professor. But what you don't know is my beginnings. I was born to a mother of mental health challenges, and I don't talk about it a lot because it hasn't been very cool to talk about mental illness or mental challenges, which I prefer to call them. But I do think that illness and sickness is the reason why I say that is because I think it fluctuates, right? Just like with your physical health, it can feel more like a long-term injury, or it can feel more like something short-term. And illness is somewhat, in the brain is somewhat similar. It can be more struggling. You can struggle more often with the feeling that you can't fix this. Living with ADHD, I feel like that sometimes. But that doesn't stop me from practicing wellness. And I want to give that uplifting message to anyone who is dealing with mental health challenges in your home, um, in your own mind, or just by supporting and as a caregiver. Um, my mother is more ill now, right now, so we've been thinking about her a lot. And I'm talking about my birth mother, and I wanted it to think and share about what should I share with you. And a pivotal moment in my career as a poet was this moment when I published a poem called "Eating Like There Is No Tomorrow" in a journal that first began in 1889. It was a journal called Poet Lore. Shout out to Ethelbert Miller, who actually is an editor of that magazine or that journal still to this day. And this, I was just so blessed to have my poem that really took some pain and turned it into poetry, published in that journal. Thanks, I think, to his selection and a team of others who thought that this poem was worthy. I share it today because the title says "Eating Like There's No Tomorrow," and when we think about illness, a lot of people, they medicate in different ways when they don't have the medication that they need, and I'll let that sit, right? But this poem is not about overeating. When we think about that expression, "eating like there's no tomorrow," we sometimes think about someone who's medicating with food. Other people medicate with alcohol, or other people medicate with drugs, legal or pharmaceutical. But I want you all to know that this poem is very vulnerable for me. I've never read it out loud, so I'm a little nervous. But I want to read it because when you turn pain, how do you turn pain into poetry? And I'm still seriously interested in that. One might be asking. And for me, it is about taking metaphors. So you might notice in this poem that I'm taking just one moment, and give me one moment as I try to find the poem again. This is what happens when you try to read from your phone. But when you take one moment and you use metaphor or simile to describe what you're feeling. And what I was feeling in the moment when I met my mom and in the hospital, and I don't live with her and I didn't grow up with her, but it felt like I was literally eating like there was no tomorrow. And give me one moment here. Okay, here it is. So I wanted to capture that moment as much as I could by literally just thinking about um our actions in that moment. So I'll just read it to you without any further ado. And this is it. Eating like there's no tomorrow. When the nurse served lunch on a pink tray, my mother gave me half of her sandwich like a child. I smiled at sharing as she plopped tater tots. My own mouth was rounding. We were filling up way past the emptiness. You see, I have a brain injury. I turned to the TV before I earnestly said, I know. Then we laughed at nothing and we ate together. I reached far out to take a picture of the two of us as she tried to slurp up the soupy red past with a silver spoon. Like so many children, that day, I kept waiting for her eyes to see me clearly, devouring my own regrets with each small bite. So it's called Eating Like There's Tomorrow. And lucky for you, I even have an image of me and my mom there. So, yes, you can turn pain into poetry. Yes, you can use metaphor and simile and try to capture a moment in time that was painful and turn it into something healing. If you're interested in doing that, feel free to join me um, at the Red Circle, which is my Patreon membership site, at Venus Love Jones, and you can find me there. We'll be doing some more events soon. And if you didn't know, one of my favorite meditation apps is Insight Timer. That's where I can find healing community and free medicine for those who can't afford proper health care. And this is why I'm so grateful for a day like this, World Mental Health Day, and a week even, where we can just focus on those who need tips like this. Go to Insight Timer, write poems. All of these things are so crucial and so important when you feel like you don't know where to turn. So I say turn to Insight Timer, where I'm a teacher, and you might find some fun poems there, or go to my Patreon page where you might find some poetic pick-me-ups with my punchline poems. So I think that poetry has definitely saved my life. And I hope that if you are struggling as a caregiver, or if you're living with someone who has mental challenges, or even if you yourself um, really want to dialogue around these differences in a world that feels weary sometimes already on its own, then don't feel afraid to reach out. I'm your solar sister here, and I am looking for dialogue advocates and people who want to remember that we can use art to improve and increase empathy in this world. My name is Venus Jones, Venus Love Jones, and you can remember this. Sometimes it's important to keep looking up and keep looking out, because when we do, there's a lot less fear and a lot less doubt. Thank you so much for listening.